The movie starts on our island, Berk. Now, every place in the world is known for something. You've got farming islands, herding islands, you name it. But Berk is different. What makes it stand out? Well, Berk fights dragons. Yeah, you heard me right. In this world, dragons are a real thing. All kinds, shapes, and sizes. And from time to time, they attack Berk. That's why the people here are always ready for battle. They know more about dragons than anyone else in the world. Right now, we meet a young guy from Berk named Hiccup. He's the son of the island's chief, Stoic. As usual, a group of dragons shows up to attack, so everyone gears up to fight. Hiccup wants to join in and help, but Stoic stops him. He knows Hiccup isn't strong enough to fight dragons. So instead, Hiccup heads to the island's blacksmith workshop to help prep the weapons. The blacksmith there is Gobber, a former dragon fighter himself, but he's now injured and has a metal arm, so he doesn't fight much anymore. While Hiccup's working, the battle outside gets intense. Dragons are burning everything, and the fire team rushes in to help, led by a girl named Astrid. Hiccup, by the way, has a huge crush on her. Like, huge. She's putting out fires like a pro and showing everyone how strong she is. Back inside, Hiccup is chatting with Gobber and admits he likes Astrid. He wants to kill a dragon to impress her and everyone else. Gobber is totally against it. He knows Hiccup would just get hurt, but Hiccup doesn't listen. He grabs a weapon he built, kind of like a crossbow that shoots nets, and heads out alone. He finds a quiet spot on the island, and suddenly, he sees it, a night fury. That's one of the most dangerous dragons out there. People say no one's ever seen one and lived. But Hiccup takes his shot and hits it. Still, the dragon gets away. Meanwhile, Stoic and the fighters are still battling hard. Eventually, they manage to drive the dragons off, and the fight ends. Hiccup rushes over to his dad to tell him he hit a night fury, but Stoic doesn't believe him, not for a second. He actually embarrasses Hiccup in front of everyone. So, Hiccup just walks away and heads home. Later on, Stoic gathers everyone on the island and tells them he's planning a big mission. He's taking the strongest warriors to find the dragon's main nest, where the biggest dragon of all lives. If they can take it down, they might be able to stop all dragon attacks forever. Basically, that nest is like home base for all dragons. Destroy it, and it's game over. Some people don't think it'll work. They say it's impossible to even find the nest, let alone beat the giant dragon. But Stoic, with his confidence and leadership, gets everyone on board. Later, Gobber sits down with Stoic and tells him that Hiccup deserves a chance, that he cares and wants to prove himself. Stoic finally gives in and agrees to let Hiccup train to become a dragon fighter. Meanwhile, Hiccup actually finds the night fury he shot earlier. Turns out, it got caught in a trap after being injured. Hiccup goes there planning to kill it to prove he's brave, but when he looks into the dragon's eyes, he just can't do it. He feels bad for it. Instead, he lets it go. Let's just call this dragon Toothless. That's the name. Toothless is freed. He gets ready to attack Hiccup, but at the last second, he backs off and leaves without hurting him. Hiccup heads back home and finds out his dad has signed him up for dragon training with the other teens, including Astrid. One of them will become a full-fledged fighter if they pass all the tests. Stoic tells Hiccup this is his chance to prove himself, to make his dad proud. But deep down, Hiccup has started to see dragons differently. His experience with Toothless changed something in him. He doesn't want to fight them anymore, but he can't tell that to his dad. So he keeps quiet and agrees to train. Stoic leaves with his team on the mission to find the dragon nest, and Hiccup heads to his first training session. Everyone's there, including Astrid. Their trainer? Gobber, of course. Gobber explains that they've got dragons locked up here, all kinds, and they'll be training to fight them, one by one. No holding back. The first dragon comes out, and it's a tough one. Everyone fights it, but it almost burns Hiccup alive, until Gobber jumps in and saves him. That wraps up the first day of training. Later, Hiccup sneaks off to visit Toothless again. Since no one really knows what a night fury looks like, Hiccup starts sketching him. He might be the first person ever to see one up close. After that, he joins the others again, and Gobber introduces them to a special book filled with info about every known dragon species. He tells them to read it. It might just save their lives. Gobber tells the group to read the dragon book so they can understand dragons better. Then he leaves. Everyone walks off, including Astrid, but Hiccup stays behind, flipping through the book alone. When he gets to the section on night furies, there's nothing. No info at all. Like we said before, no one's ever seen one up close. That just makes Hiccup even more excited. He's the first person to ever lay eyes on a night fury. The next day, Hiccup heads to another training session with Gobber and the fire team. Gobber brings out a new kind of dragon, and as usual, everyone jumps in to fight it. Hiccup still does horribly, while Astrid, she totally dominates. She takes the dragon down and forces it back into its cage. Training wraps up for the day. Once that's done, Hiccup sneaks off again to visit Toothless. This time, he brings food. Toothless eats happily, then shares a bit of it with Hiccup. So they eat together. And just like that, a weird but kind of beautiful friendship starts forming between them. Hiccup keeps playing around with Toothless and really enjoys being with him. Later, he heads back to the island and hangs out with Gobber and the others. Gobber tells stories about his battles with dragons, how he got hurt, how he lost things. Everyone's clearly moved by it, except Hiccup. He's just sitting there, wishing the war between humans and dragons would end, and that everyone could be friends, like him and Toothless. Later on, Hiccup goes home and starts working on this special kind of gear, a custom design. The next day, he goes back to Toothless with it. It's something he attaches to Toothless' tail so he can ride him. And yeah, it works. Toothless takes off with Hiccup flying on his back. Hiccup is over the moon. He can't fully control Toothless yet, but just the fact that he's flying with a dragon? Mind-blowing. After that crazy experience, Hiccup goes back to training. This time, Gobber unleashes a really tough dragon, one that no one can handle. But Hiccup? He doesn't fight it. Instead, he calms it down and gets it to return to its cage. No violence, just confidence and control. Everyone's shocked. Like, how did he do that? Even Hiccup himself is surprised. He keeps visiting Toothless and makes more upgrades to the gear. This time, he attaches it to Toothless' back and adjusts it so it works better. Eventually, he figures out how to control Toothless completely while riding him, steering, gliding, diving, everything. And of course, Hiccup is loving every second of it. He can fly now, really fly, with a dragon. From then on, every day at training, Hiccup faces a new dragon, and every time, he handles it without a fight. He calmly wins, sends the dragon back to its cage, and walks away like it's nothing. People are amazed. No one can believe this is the same weak kid from before. Meanwhile, Hiccup keeps improving the gear. He even builds a foot pedal system so he can steer Toothless more easily, literally guiding his movements midair. Day by day, their bond grows stronger and stronger. Then, not long after all that, Stoic and his crew return from their trip. The mission was a failure. They couldn't find the dragon's nest, and Stoic lost a lot of men. He's disappointed and exhausted. But then, something happens that lifts his spirits. Gobber shows up and tells him, Hiccup has passed nearly all the dragon training tests, and not just barely. He's crushing it. Stoic is in shock. He's so proud, he can't even believe it. Hiccup's bond with Toothless had grown so strong. But, as usual, he couldn't bring himself to tell Stoic. So he just stayed quiet and let the moment pass. The next day, it's time for Hiccup's final test with the fire team. This one's big. Stoic is there watching, along with Gobber, and even the elder of the island, Gothi. For context, Gothi attends all the tests because she helps choose who gets to join the island's warriors. The test begins, and just like always, Hiccup nails it. He manages to control the dragon calmly and passes with flying colors. Then Gothi speaks. She announces that out of all the trainees, the winner is Hiccup, which means he moves on to the final stage. And this time, it's serious. He'll have to face a dragon alone and kill it to officially become a warrior. Hiccup is completely stunned, but again, he can't say anything. Meanwhile, Stoic is beyond proud. His son is about to become a real dragon-slaying Viking. Later, Hiccup heads to the usual spot where he meets Toothless. But before he gets there, Astrid shows up. She's been following him, suspicious of where he keeps going every day. She asks him, "Why do you come here all the time? Is someone training you? Is that how you got so strong and managed to beat everyone?" Before Hiccup can answer, Toothless appears. Astrid is shocked. She's never seen a Night Fury before, and her first instinct is to attack. But Hiccup jumps in and stops her, telling her that this dragon is his friend. She's speechless. Then she remembers, it was dragons who took her mother when she was young. So how could Hiccup be friends with one? He doesn't respond. Instead, he climbs on Toothless' back. Astrid turns to leave, probably to go back and tell everyone what she saw, but then she slips and nearly falls off a cliff. Hiccup and Toothless rush in and save her just in time. Then Hiccup pulls her up onto Toothless, and the three of them take off into the sky. As they fly, Astrid's fear starts to fade. She's amazed by the view, the speed, the whole experience. And right in the middle of all that, something incredible happens. They find themselves surrounded by dozens of dragons, all flying peacefully around them, not attacking, not even coming close. Toothless flies Hiccup and Astrid right through them, deeper and deeper, until eventually, they arrive at the dragon's nest, their hidden home. Hiccup and Astrid are blown away. It's beautiful, massive, and they realize something important. Only dragons can find this place. They're stunned by the sheer number of dragons living there and how huge the nest is. That's when they both realize the alpha dragon that rules this place must be unbelievably powerful. After seeing all this, they head back to where Toothless lives. Astrid turns to Hiccup and asks, "Are you going to tell your dad about this place?" Hiccup tells her no, because if the Vikings find out, they'll destroy the nest and every dragon in it, including Toothless. He can't let that happen. Astrid agrees. She tells Hiccup she's always liked him, and now she really does. Not just because of who he is, but because she's starting to love dragons too, just like he does. That moment makes Hiccup stay. Not only did Astrid admit her feelings, but she's finally seeing dragons the way he does. They say goodbye for the night. Then comes the big day, Hiccup's final test. He's supposed to fight and kill a dragon to prove himself as a warrior. Before the match, Astrid stops him and asks, "What are you going to do?" Hiccup looks at her and says, "I'm not going to kill it. I can't. I don't want to hurt dragons anymore." She's worried for him, but also proud. Hiccup enters the arena. Gobber brings out the biggest, meanest dragon they've got. The fight begins, but Hiccup doesn't attack. He uses the skills he learned with Toothless, calming the dragon, moving slowly, showing it he's not a threat. And it works. The dragon starts to relax. Just when it seems everything's going okay, Toothless shows up. He sees Hiccup in danger and panics. He storms into the arena and attacks, trying to protect him. Now it's chaos. Total chaos. People are screaming. Soldiers rush in. Stoic and the other fighters jump down to help. Stoic manages to stop Toothless and orders the soldiers to capture him. And they do. Toothless is chained up and taken away. Later that night, Stoic confronts Hiccup. He's furious. He tells him he's weak, that dragons are enemies, not friends, and that he was wrong to ever think Hiccup could be a real warrior. But Hiccup tries to explain. He tells his father that dragons can be friends, that he and Toothless have a real bond, a friendship that proves peace is possible. He says they found the dragon's nest, and it's full of dragons just living their lives, not attacking anyone. That hit Stoic hard. Hiccup went to the nest and didn't tell him? Stoic doesn't waste another second. He decides right then and there they're going to the nest. They'll use Toothless to lead the way, and once they get there, they'll wipe out the dragons and their leader, ending the threat for good. Hiccup begs him to stop, to listen, but Stoic's mind is made up. Nothing will change it. He immediately gathers his warriors, loads them onto the ships, ties up Toothless, and sets off into the night, headed straight for the dragon's hidden home. They finally reach the dragon's nest, and that's when the real battle begins. At the same time, Hiccup is with Astrid and the rest of the team. He tells them that Stoic and the warriors don't realize the danger they're walking into. They need to go and help them before it's too late, and everyone ends up wiped out. Of course, everyone asks Hiccup the obvious question. How are they supposed to help? How can they stand a chance against the most dangerous dragons in the world? That's when Hiccup explains the plan. He's going to take them to the dragon training arena, and each of them is going to tame a dragon. Once they've bonded with their dragons, they'll head straight to the dragon's nest and help save everyone. Even though the plan sounds totally crazy, they all agree to go with it, despite growing up believing dragons are the enemy. So Hiccup takes them to the arena and teaches them how to gain a dragon's trust. It works. One by one, they all manage to tame a dragon, even Astrid. And soon, they're flying off to the dragon nest, each riding their own dragon. Meanwhile, back at the nest, Stoic and the others are deep in battle against the dragons. It's intense, especially since they're now up against the giant alpha dragon, the biggest and most terrifying of them all. Just as things are getting out of hand, Hiccup and the crew arrive, diving into the fight with their new dragon friends. But during the chaos, Hiccup and Toothless get hit and fall into the water, each landing in a different spot. Toothless is barely hanging on, and it looks like he's not going to make it, until Stoic shows up just in time. He rescues Toothless, then pulls Hiccup out of the water too. Once Hiccup's back on Toothless, they jump right back into the fight. Meanwhile, Astrid is in serious danger. The giant dragon leader grabs her dragon's tail with its massive jaws and refuses to let go. So Astrid jumps off and starts hitting the alpha dragon's teeth, literally smashing them, to save her dragon. Even when she ends up inside its mouth, she doesn't stop fighting. That's when Hiccup and Toothless arrive just in time to rescue her. Then comes the final showdown. Hiccup and Toothless take on the alpha dragon in a brutal, no-holds-barred battle. Even though Toothless is small compared to the enemy, he fights with everything he's got, landing powerful hits. After a long, hard fight, they finally manage to defeat the alpha dragon, but they don't make it out unscathed. Both Hiccup and Toothless crash to the ground, badly hurt. Everyone rushes to them, unsure if they'll survive. There's this heartbreaking moment where no one knows if Hiccup or Toothless will make it. Eventually, after a long while, Hiccup wakes up. He finds himself in his house, with Toothless right there beside him. He's surprised Toothless is even allowed inside, especially with Stoic being, well, stoic. But Hiccup grabs Toothless and runs outside, overjoyed. And that's when he sees it. The entire village of Berk has changed. Everyone is living peacefully with dragons now. They're not enemies anymore. They're friends. Stoic comes over and tells Hiccup that he finally listened. The people of Berk are done fighting dragons. Now, they train them instead. Life is better. Everyone's happier. There's no more fear. Of course, this means the world to Hiccup. Astrid shows up too, thrilled to see him awake and okay. Don't forget, they're in love. Hiccup hops on Toothless. Astrid jumps on her dragon, and they take off into the sky, soaring through the clouds, full of joy. Hiccup still can't believe it. The people of Berk, who used to be famous for slaying dragons, are now known for training them. And he knows, deep down, that Berk will always be different, always special. First they were famous for dragon hunting, and now they're legendary for dragon riding. And honestly, that's exactly what makes Berk, Berk. But none of that really matters.